This is Jennifer Hale, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And, I should go.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 240 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And in the wintertime, don't eat the yellow snow. And when on the planet Kittenson, don't eat the puffy things. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like we do on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
Yes.
We're not awake, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're going to do this podcast asleep.
Well,
Not at the topic that we're talking about is boring, trust me, very interesting, but
I
we're catching up.
Some people sleepwalk. Some people sleep eat. We sleep podcast.
yes. Some of us are on vacation last week. Still recovering.
Need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first things first. Let's all yawn, and then
Get that out of our systems.
yeah. Then we will move on to the news. Not a whole lot of news, but I think it was once again kind of a calm before the proverbial storm that is D23 Expo in a couple weeks.
Although I did. There was some late breaking news today.
We didn't. Yeah, I would say the Salt Lake Fan X announcement we did catch while recording last week, so it did get mentioned.
Yes. Although there were some that happened today. They were teasing Star Wars.
Of course.
Star Wars guests, and we are getting Ian McDiarmid, the Emperor. I think he's been here before. I'd have to go back and look, but I feel
no
like
one's ever really gone.
No one's
Yeah.
And of all people, Hayden Christensen,
Ooh, interesting.
which I know for a fact he's not been here. So I'm hoping.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people are nice to him. Because I'm like, his performance as Anakin was not entirely his fault.
Yeah.
No.
So
The rating had just
the writing, directing, there's a lot that goes into into that. He did well with what he had, and there was a nostalgia critic video some years ago where he said, the top 11 good things about the Star Wars prequels, and one of them actually was Hayden Christensen's acting, and he explained when he has scenes where he's just like using his facial expressions and he doesn't have a lot of lines, he's actually really good, and he's been in movies where he's done really well. So he is a good actor. There are just some lines that you cannot make sound good.
no matter which way you cut it.
Yes. So anyway, so that's exciting, and we're gearing up for Fan X here in less than a month now. So holy cow! Every time these things pop up, I'm like, we just had one.
Yeah.
And now we're having another one. So there you go.
Yeah. But yeah. You look at the calendar, it's like, oh yeah, September's next month. That's a thing. Happens every year. Imagine that. September comes after August.
Yep. This has been a crazy summer for us. I feel like I say that every year.
Yeah. There's just something about the summer. It's like
right?
Something.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. So.
Indeed.
And speaking of crazy summer blockbuster things, I don't know. It's a bad transition here. There was the Teen Choice Awards last night as we're recording this, and it's interesting to see what the teens will pick versus like the People's Choice Awards. I mean, really anybody can vote for these, I think, because it's open online. A lot of these you can vote online, and I don't think they discriminate on who gets to vote. I don't think, because I think I voted for the Teen Choice Awards in years past.
They don't really check with your IP address. How old are you?
I don't think so, but for something labeled the Teen Choice Awards, it's interesting what the teens supposedly have picked for the winners for some of the categories, which all the music stuff, I had no idea what was happening in the music categories. I don't listen to popular music. So it's like I have no idea who these. I was like, I recognize Taylor Swift's name, but that's about it. Like I know none of these songs.
I listened to when the music was popular, like in like the 90s or the 80s.
Yeah, it's not current popular music.
Yeah, or 70s rock.
Yeah, exactly. So. But that being said, the movie and TV categories usually are in line sometimes with things that we like. I don't know what that says about us, but it's a big old popularity contest, really, is what it is. In movies, Avengers Endgame won for Choice Action Movie. Robert Downey Jr. won for Choice Action Movie Star, or Action Movie Actor, which, duh.
Yeah.
Totally would have had my vote. Yeah. Action Movie Actress went to Scarlett Johansson for Avengers Endgame. Choice Sci-Fi / Fantasy Movie went to Aladdin.
Okay.
Yeah. That beat out Aquaman, Dark Phoenix, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, Mary Poppins Returns, and Shazam. Choice Sci-Fi Fantasy Movie Actor went to Will Smith for Aladdin, which, granted, he did do a good job in Aladdin as the genie, but again, considering who else had been nominated, that's an interesting choice. And Choice Sci-Fi Fantasy Movie Actress went to Naomi Scott for Aladdin.
Apparently the kids like Aladdin. Who knew?
Yeah, apparently. The drama movie was a clean sweep for the movie After, which I don't even know what movie that is and what's it about.
Same.
I don't either.
Of the dramas, I only know of one and only seen one of them.
Yeah.
That's listed.
Yeah, although I guess for the teen choice, I wouldn't really expect them to. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man had nominations in the actor category, and I'm like, well, maybe they're not that big on, Queen or Elton John. I don't know.
Yeah, you would have thought maybe Lady Gaga though for drama movie actress though, but
Right, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard of this movie, so that shows how hip I am to what the kids are all watching.
Yeah, I would say the Choice Comedy Movie. Once again, I've not seen the movies that won for movie and then the actor categories. I've not seen Crazy Rich Asians or The Perfect Date. So
I'm surprised that one over like Pokemon, Detective Pikachu. Like I'm surprised. You would think with
Ryan Reynolds.
Teens, yeah. Teens and Ryan Reynolds.
It's Ryan Reynolds and Pokemon. Like, what more do you want?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's new. Choice Movie Villain went to Josh Brolin for Avengers Endgame. So that's I totally agree with that. Choice Summer Movie went to Spider-Man Far From Home. Choice Summer Movie. I like how they differentiate. Summer Movie actor with Tom Holland for Spider-Man Far From Home, and then Summer Movie Actress went to Zendaya for Spider-Man Far From Home. TV. Again, I don't know what Shadowhunters is.
It's the spin-off TV series for the Cassandra Clare series of books, and it's in their last season, so I'm thinking that's probably why it got the win.
But I'm surprised it beat Supernatural.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be Supernatural's year next year with it being their last season. Who knows?
That's a good point.
Possibly, but I mean, Jared Padalecki did win for
Exactly.
sci-fi fantasy TV actor for Supernatural, so. But yeah, that's a lot of the TV stuff. I don't. I either don't know it or it's like I don't really watch it, even if I know what it is. So, I kind of have a category: choice throwback TV show. It's like the fact that all these shows are old enough to be considered throwbacks. I'm like, no, Friends isn't that old. Oh, wait, yes, it is.
Yeah, then you realize that
it's like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, that's old enough. Like, oh,
yeah,
Friends
it's
isn't. Oh, wait, yes, it is.
it's when you realize it's when you realize this year 1999 was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh. Yeah.
Sorry to rain on the parade, guys.
Oh, no worries.
Well, how about this?
So,
Today
thanks.
at work. Oh,
No,
today
go ahead.
at work, I got one of those Funko Pops for Little Mermaid, and they plastered 30th anniversary of Little Mermaid. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, Teen Choice Awards, for liking the stuff that we like and at the same time making us feel very old.
Yep.
So that's really the only news. We do have some housekeeping. So once you're done listening to this episode and you still want to hear at least some of our voices, you can go and listen to the most recent episode of the Social Sci-Fi podcast talking about the Doctor Who episode Kerblam. And I am on that, and it surprisingly gets pretty deep. You would think, oh, killer bubble wrap, but no, it gets surprisingly profound in our discussion. So, which is kind of the point of that particular podcast, is to dig a little deeper.
Not gonna lie, I forgot that was the name of the episode. I'm like, what episode was that? Right.
Killer bubble wrap.
And if you're looking for a classic Who Doctor fix with another voice from our group, you can head over to Next Stop Everywhere, episode 151. I sat down and talked with Charles Skiggs about the 7th Doctor and 8th episode, Battlefield, which has Steve Brigg in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one.
Yes, it is.
The episode and probably the podcast episode.
Yeah. Any Doctor Who episode with the breed deer is always a good one.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes. And of course, there are going to be explosions.
We've got just a few. And then, as we mentioned / teased, I guess, on last week's episode with our post-Gen Con wrap-up, we do now have up on our website a giveaway. It's actually been live for several days, but just to give people a heads up who maybe have not been paying attention, we do have a giveaway going. There are 2 different prize bundles. One is, I would say, more family friendly than the other, at least as far as the games are concerned. So, because Badmoji is it is labeled not safe for work. So keep that in mind. If you're in a household that plays games and it's a bunch of adults, then enter that one. If you want something a bit more family friendly, then you may want to go with the Gold Girls bundle, which is definitely safe for work. If anything else, the Gold Girls, the Funko Pops are just fun. you could just take those out of the box and set them on display somewhere if you want. But yeah, there's the two. You can enter both, but you can only win one. So, whichever, if your name gets drawn, whichever one that pops up first, if you enter both, that's the one you're going to get. So, but yeah, you can go ahead and enter for either or both. And closer to the end of the month, we'll draw the winners and then send out some prizes.
So definitely go check out our website, the5ishfangirls.com, and you can go enter.
Because last time I checked, as we're recording this, nobody has entered. So your odds are really good of winning at the moment. I think that's one of those things where it's like the entry period is so long that people are like, oh yeah, I'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, I'm looking at the page left, or the page now, and it says 17 days left, and
Listen to me, people. I've done that. Like I see, like, oh, I have this many days. I can enter whenever. I forget. Enter as soon as you click the page.
That way you don't miss out.
Because usually by the time you remember, the drawing's over and it's already happened.
Or you remember when the page announces, hey, we have winners, and you're like, oh darn it, I was going to enter that.
You can't win if you don't enter. So
exactly,
you might as well just enter, because entering now or entering like in the last 5 minutes, it's not going to change the odds of you winning any when you enter. But your odds of you winning is strictly on how many people enter, how many other people enter. So
yeah, it's funny because summer reading just ended at the library where I work, and part of the thing is when people finish, they can enter the prize drawing. And it was so funny, like so many people at the end are like, oh, they get their drawings, like, oh, cool, we'll be right on top. And they're like, no, you won't. We're going to put everybody in a bucket and mix it all up.
We're going to shake it really good.
Yep.
So enter the giveaway. Free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff?
Yeah, and they're games. Games are awesome.
Games and some other thingies.
The goodies and some surprise swag.
Nice little representation of Gen Con. Who knows? Maybe I'll even throw in some extra things there that aren't even shown in pictures. Ooh. But you won't know if you don't enter. All right. So with that, let's move on to this week's topic, which is season 6 of The Field, the penultimate season, because next season will be the last tier. Thankfully, it's not till next year, so we've got time.
At least they've given us a heads up.
Yes, that's the nice thing about it.
They can start wrapping stuff up.
Yeah, well, they already have.
Ended. Well, yes, I mean,
everyone's on vacation now. Clark Craig has been posting pictures on Instagram. He's like in Nantucket, like, hey, look, I'm at the beach. Like, yeah, whatever, Clark.
They won't leave it on a cliffhanger, is what I mean.
Well, yeah.
And Henry didn't lie to you when you met him.
No, he did not. That's the nice thing about it. Like when I saw Henry at PopCon, we were talking about the season, and at the time we were only however many episodes in, like halfway through the season, if that. And talking about how much I love the show and how excited I was that they figured out a way to bring Clark back, and how much I love Coulson, and how I named my car Phil. And Henry was like, well, I can't spoil anything, but I think you'll be happy with the way that the season ends. And he was right. So they have figured out a way to keep Clark on so that we get Clark Gregg for the final season of Agents of Field. So, but we'll get to that. So yeah, we've already talked about the first episode all the way back when the season was aired. So, but we have a nice chunk of episodes. There were 13 total. So, so we've got a dozen to cover here, and even with only 13 episodes, I mean, they crammed a lot in there, but not so much that it feels like they were trying to.
No, nothing felt shoehorned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a natural flow.
Yeah. And I think part of that was the fact that because they had known going into the season that they were already getting a season 7, and probably at the time they probably knew that season 7 was going to be the last.
Right.
And I think we even speculated that when they made that surprise announcement that not only had been renewed for season 6 but also a season 7, that we're like, oh, if they're doing that, then we're probably looking at to use the Avengers Endgame for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here. So they were able to, they knew how much they had to work with to tell the story that they wanted to tell.
And thanks to the higher ups for doing that. Note to any TV executives, if you ever listen, do it this way.
Yeah.
Your TV
like,
shows and their fans deserve this.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Work with the showrunners and the writers and the cast, and listen to the fans, and then you won't have hanging. Yeah, then you won't have fans being stuck with really crappy season finales that ended up being series finales. Again, go back and listen to my In Conjunction, where I talk about the Quantum Leap panel. Talk about how Quantum Leap ended.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's not the way you end a series. This is the way you end a series.
Or don't have it to where it gets the show you love gets to where you start to hate it and wish it was over.
Yeah, like Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, like I've actually gone back and started watching a few episodes of Once Upon a Time. Like, oh man, I missed this show, and then I'm like, oh right, I remember why.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like, anyway, we won't go into that. We've already
Yep.
Yeah. Which is funny when you think about it, because that's also ABC.
Yeah.
And how differently they handled Once Upon a Time versus how they're handling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm going to choose to believe they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
So this is an improvement. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll probably never know. That's the thing. So,
yeah.
But in this case, we're benefiting from wisdom, I guess. It was an interesting season. It was, for it being so short. Like I said, they did put a lot of storytelling in there, but it didn't feel overstuffed, and it did kind of feel like it was a traditional length season of plus episodes, because we would get to a certain point where it's like, okay, especially with Fitz and Simmons, good shit Fitz Simmons, it's like, okay, are these two ever going to reconnect? Is the team in space ever going to get back to Earth? And they did. But it's like, we got, we've got our team that, for the most part, that we recognize, with the kind of addition of the bumped up Davis and Piper up to not regulars, but appearing more than they have in the past. And then we've got the rest of the crew, and then obviously we've got Clark Gregg playing Sarge instead of Coulson, which you could tell Clark was really enjoying playing this character. After playing Phil for so long, which, I'm sure he still loves playing Phil. Otherwise, we would not be getting him back for the last season, in the way that they've figured out to bring him back. But I think I could just kind of tell that he was enjoying playing this different type of character with the different motivations, and not the guy that goes by the book like Coulson did. This guy is rode hard and weary, and just wants to get the job done and doesn't care what it takes and who he has to hurt in the process, and just kind of a real bad mamma jamma. And I could just see on his face like he was enjoying this.
But you always hear like actors, like after being like a certain character and then getting to try something new, they always have like a little bit of like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, and I think that was, it was a good way for Clark to show his range, by playing this different character, but still have the same face, and still kind of there's a little bit of Phil there, which is eerie. And obviously did not work out well in the end for those that really wanted him to be Phil, or try to find that part of him that was Phil and bring that forward. So it's like, and they threw us for a loop too, I think, with the whole backstory of him and Izell, and how we've got these creatures, these like bird bat things. They kept calling them birds, but they look more like bats to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking they were more like bats.
Yeah. Anyway, there's these bird bat looking things called the Shrike, that apparently they'll fly into your mouth and kill you, and then turn you into like a zombie, that is really hard to kill. And eventually you have like this crystal that shoots out of your body, and if you get enough of these people together, they create this tower that's supposed to open a portal or something. I don't know. But anyway, planet can get infested with these Shrike and eventually decimates the entire planet. And it seems like Sarge and his crew are trying to stop Izell from coming to Earth and releasing the Shrike and destroying Earth like they have on other planets. But then we find out that actually Sarge and Izell are the same species, and he turns and joins up with her, to the dismay of everybody, especially Daisy and May. I liked I forget which episode it was before the whatever episode ended, and then we got the preview for the next episode, that would be airing the following week, and it's finally Sarge meeting the rest of the SHIELD crew, and them seeing his face and realizing how much he looks like Coulson. In his comment is indicating to May, he's like, well, apparently this one had a hots for this guy's face I'm wearing. Does anybody else have a thing for him? I'm over here like raising my hand like, me? Glad I'm not in this room, because they would have competition.
Yeah, because basically it's kind of like Rocket asking everybody on his ship in Endgame, has anybody ever rolled a ship in his face before?
Yeah.
All the hands go up. Don't get sick. In this case, watch out for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the most part, because eventually, like, almost all of Sarge's crew dies in one instance or another, except for Snowflake, as far as we know. Like, they locked her up, and then we never saw her again. So we're not entirely sure what happened to Snowflake. Deke is taking care of her or something.
Yeah. Or just point Snowflake in a direction. It's like, yeah, we need you to make butterflies out of those people over there, please.
Yeah, really. She's like an attack dog, but she needs to hone her in so that she only attacks certain people. And then she's very effective. So when she wants to kill just about everybody.
Yeah.
Even Deke, while she's like making out with him at the same time. Deke has a very, very interesting taste in women.
Yeah. Wonder what Bobo and Nana would be saying to that. Yeah, Fitz really didn't like his nickname that got from Deke. You liked it? Maybe that reality's Fitz did, not this one.
I mean, Bobo, to me, just sounds like something you would name a monkey.
Yes.
And because, well, Gemma and Daisy are high on the little puff things, and Gemma, it has hallucinations of Fitz in a monkey costume. To me, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, and Fitz does like monkeys.
He does. Yes. He's always wanted a monkey, so why not call it Bobo?
Yes.
That was so funny. That episode.
Trust us, Fitz. There's a lot of worse nicknames you could be called by your grandson.
Yeah. But just that episode with Daisy and Gemma, though, getting absolutely stoned out of their minds at the casino.
I think they're going to be issuing Shield mandated snack packs.
Yeah, they probably should.
Shield missions. Here, this is what you eat and drink, so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. It's fun to see those two together. So it's fun when we get different combinations of characters that we don't normally get. It's like we get Fitz and Simmons together because it's Fitzsimmons.
Right.
You know, you get Mac and Yo-Yo together. You know, you get Daisy with some combination of like May or Coulson. But then when they change it up a little, it's really fun to watch the different characters, you know, interact. So it was fun with Daisy and Simmons together. So and then of course we do get the return of Deke. We don't see him until like episode 4, but we do get Deke back, and we figure out what he's been doing, which I can't say I blame him, I guess, you know, because I mean, it's not like he's stealing Shield tech and tech from the future and engineering it with modern tech and selling it. So he's become like this tech, you know, like billionaire, like an Elon Musk type person. But I mean, he is legitimately smart, though. That's the thing. And I'm glad that they did allow him to show that part of him, that he's not just this like awkward, I don't know, person from the future that doesn't quite fit in. That we do get instances once he is taken from his tech company and brought back into Shield properly, as we find out Shield's been watching him the entire time. But when he's brought back in and he's able to do things like help diffuse like the bomb, he figures out the tech so that once we discovered that Izel has the ability to possess people's bodies, that he develops a tech that they can wear so that she can't do that. He re-engineers the jump drive too. So he's actually legitimately smart. He's just trying to find his place in the world, really, and figure out where he fits in, especially considering technically he's not supposed to exist.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where Deke fits into all of this next season. Yeah, because I guess we have to assume that everybody went, but maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, Deke could be we'll get to that. I was say Deke could be wherever Fitz is. So
true.
That's a possibility as well, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fitz, let's talk about episode 6. Inescapable. Our Fitzsimmons centric episode. I don't even know what you want to call this, like nightmare scenario.
Yeah. And Fitz and Gemma both find things out about each other.
Yeah.
Based on the other two personalities that are there. And note to self, do not tick off a young Gemma. Holy.
Yeah. Say right? Fitz. Define that. Yeah, I would say define that, like, the part of Fitz that he would be considered like the worst part of him is the Fitz we saw in the framework. You know, that Fitz, that's, or Leopold, I guess, as they call him, Leopold. Hydra Fitz, essentially. That's not that surprising because we've seen that part of Fitz already with the whole thing with the, you know, the whole alternate Hydra timeline thing. So, but to find out there is a part of Gemma Simmons that looks like a not rip off, but like a spin off from like The Ring.
Yes.
From like some Japanese horror film
with a slight touch of fear, you know, The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Thrown in.
Is just our sweet. I mean, I know the Gemma that we started off all the way back in the day was very sweet and very timid, and we've seen Gemma grow, and she's shown herself to be a perfectly capable SHIELD agent and can be a badass when need dictates it. But this is just Freud would have a field day with both of them, but especially Gemma.
Yeah, I'm surprised Fitz didn't say, I'm going to need brain bleach.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very telling, though, that the physical manifestation of her kind of negative alter ego is the way that she looked is very telling, because Gemma, when they're in this experience in like their subconscious or whatever, and she's talking to Fitz, and she's like, well, since I've been a little girl, I've been taught to take any negative feelings and put them in a box. So she's been doing this technique since she was a little girl, but we get this physical manifestation, and it's grown Gemma, but she's wearing part of the outfit and the face makeup from when she was a slave, when they were in the future. And but then she's also wearing the shirt that she wore when she got sucked up by the monolith and she was on Maveth. So it's like those two specific periods and points in her life where something really like extreme happened to her. You know, one, she gets sucked onto an alien planet and gets, you know, stuck there, you know, without knowing if she's going to get rescued. Yeah, but then she gets enslaved. And then, so I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. But anybody out there want to dissect that and let us know what your interpretation of that is, go right on ahead. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Me too.
That was a very good episode, though. So,
it was.
And kudos to both of them, Ian and Elizabeth, for once again, you know, taking those two characters that we've grown to know and love and ship so hard, and just give us even more character development and more depth. You know, that we learn about them, they learn about each other. You know, even after all this time that they've been together. Then eventually everybody gets back together, and we figure, you know, everybody has their moment of, holy crap, he does look like Coulson. Moments. And then the whole thing with, we find out that Izel has the ability to possess people, which at that point, like the last 3 or 4 episodes, like everything gets dark.
Yeah. And it's just
really, really dark.
Yeah. Who's being possessed by Izel and who's not? I mean, basically, he almost had to do the scroll protocol for.
Yeah.
How do we? It's actually you.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is before, like we had like this whole, you know, the team on Earth, the team in space, Izel is coming, the Shrike are coming, blah 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 blah. You know, her Shrike zombie people have come together, created this tower that's gonna do something, and there's a bomb. Yeah, there's a bomb on the semi truck, and May and Daisy and Snowflake and Deke are stuck on said truck and can't do anything to stop it. So it's like we have this like whole mad rush of, you know, we've got to stop the Shrike and Izel, but we also got to try to save the team from getting blown up on this truck. And, you know, any other show maybe like that would be what we be headed towards with the end of the season. Like that would be like the big thing. But that's like, by the time we get to that, there's still 2 episodes left in the season.
Right. Basically, like the Murphy's Law of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What can go wrong could go wrong and slightly did go wrong.
Yes.
And you have X number of minutes to try and fix this.
Yeah.
And keep said cast intact.
Yes. But it's like they do fix it, and we're like, yay! And then I'm looking at the TV schedule, and I'm like, well, what's going to happen now? Because this is obviously not going to be smooth sailing for 2 more episodes.
Right. Or crap. Phew, we got that crisis averted, but dang, there's 15 minutes left in the episode. What can happen? What can go wrong next?
Yeah.
I mean, to jump ahead. I mean, yo-yo. I mean, I'm just like, what happens?
Yeah, it's like they stopped the
like,
bomb. It's like they destroyed the tower. It's like, yay, great. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Oh wait, Izel, she can possess people, and you have no idea who she's possessed. Because they still act the same, essentially. They still sound the same. So you really have no idea who she's possessed until after the fact.
Floating around.
Yeah. So
They
she's
need to
got
implement a shooty dog protocol somewhere in there pretty darn quick.
something, I don't know. But so that ends up causing some awful things to happen, including Piper, while possessed, shooting herself in the hand.
Yep.
Which she seemed to bounce back from fairly quickly, if you ask me. But then her possessing Davis and essentially causing him to kill himself very brutally, which that in itself sucks. But we also learn over the course of the season that Davis is one of the few people that's married and has a kid.
Yeah.
So he's now left, his child without a father. I mean, it's not his fault. It was Izel's fault, but still. One of the few members of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we know, has sort of semblance of a family life.
Right.
And she goes and bumps him off. And it's not pretty at all. And then almost successfully frames May for killing Sarge. But it turns out Sarge can't die anyway.
Yeah.
At least not by any earthbound means. We do get the more information about the two of them and their species. I don't think we ever really get a name.
I don't think we do.
So they're just an unnamed, normally incorporeal species, but has the ability to take on a physical form. And it just so happens that Sarge, whatever his name was, if he even had a name, I don't know if they have names in their natural state, because of the monoliths. We call them the monoliths. Izel calls them something else, but to us they're the monoliths. When the one monolith opened up the fear dimension and Coulson went in to try and close it, that his physical appearance and then some of his memories imprinted in that dimension. So when when these creatures went looking for bodies, this one found a physical form that he liked, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like Phil. But he's just different enough, and I'm glad that they made sure to show it that too, because the Phil that went into the fear dimension at that point had been the Phil that had been brought back by Tahiti, had lost his arm. So he's got those physical traits, and Sarge doesn't have those. He has both of his arms. He doesn't have the scar in his chest from getting stabbed by Loki. So for whatever reason, those physical traits of Phil Coulson did not translate. But some of his memories do, which is the moment between him and Daisy. And he calls her Sky.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with her, where she's just got this look like Phil, you Phil.
Hang on.
Yeah.
What makes me want to about Phil didn't have something to do with, taking away the stress and from Loki. I got a feeling that Sarge and Zill's character, they might have had a little something going on back when, whatever, kind of like.
Yeah. It may just be that in that, because she did say that in that dimension they can't die. So the minute he took on that form and came into our dimension, those injuries got healed. So the scar from Loki would have healed. His arm would have healed. So it could be that too. That for whatever reason, when they're in our dimension, their physical forms must remain pristine and undamaged, it seems like. So it could be that. But yeah, that moment between Sarge / Phil and Davey was like my heart. It's like I love you two together. So it was this is probably my own bias showing to a point, because I mean, I don't get it, but on a logical level, I understand the Philinda, Coulson and May thing relationship. On a logical level, I understand, and I understand why people ship it. I don't. I still don't. And it was kind of annoying to see May kind of use for perspective, because there's this guy running around with the face of the guy she was in love with. It's so the May that we know. I mean, she's always been able to stay level-headed when the need arises and not let emotion get in the way. And for her to be like, if I see a way to get Coulson back, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, really? Are you that? You can't get over. I mean, I know grief is a thing, and you never really get over the death of someone that you love, but it's like, really, you're going to potentially compromise the mission and your teammates and everything just so that you can look at Phil's face looks or some more. But that's just me. It just seemed a bit out of character for her. So, am I off base, or am I just...
No. No.
Yeah, I was like, kind of like, this doesn't seem like the May that we've grown to know. It was like, it was a little odd.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I could tilt my head and it's like, yeah, but
yeah. No. That being said, it's a badass May. She got shanked. It was funny because I'd watched it, and I don't know exactly when you watched it, Holly. But I made sure to refrain from posting too much in our chat. But then Brittany was watching it.
Yeah.
And I could tell when she got to the point where Sarge turns tail and takes that sword and shoves it in May's gullet.
Yeah.
And Brittany's comments in the chat were like,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I had seen stuff because when she was posting into our main MCU chat, I had already seen the episode because she had messaged me earlier privately. She's like, how many tissues am I gonna need? I'm like, only a couple. And then she messaged me back like, what after that had happened? She's like, what do you mean only a couple? Keep watching. Trust me. I haven't steered you wrong, and I haven't lied to you yet about this, have I?
Yeah.
Saying like,
I'm not the doctor.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I wasn't that concerned because I knew from seeing the promo that we get this badass shot of May with the sword. So it's like some version of May is going to appear. with the sword. So it's like, we're not done with Melinda May here, or at least someone that looks like Melinda May. So I didn't know if we were going to get another like Sarge situation where it was going to be, not May, but someone with her face or what. But it's like we're not done with Melinda May yet. So I wasn't that concerned. But at the same time, it was, at the same time, though, it was kind of brutal to watch. So, but she ends up going through like the portal that's created by having all three monoliths together and like active. And she ends up like in their dimension where they came from, where since she's not one of them, in their dimension, injuries aren't permanent. So she doesn't die right away from injuries. So she's able to come back and has that moment with the sword and takes on Izel, and it's pretty awesome. And the imagery, Ming-Na Wen did confirm the pose of May with the sword is a call to Mulan, who she is the voice of, the Disney animated movie. So
when I saw that, I was like, I love it.
Yeah, it's like, let's get down to business to defeat this Han.
Yep.
So it was pretty awesome. It was fun to see the entire crew come together, or at least the ones that could. Because unfortunately Yo-Yo ends up getting shriked, and wants Daisy to be the one to take her out before she becomes a mindless zombie, because at that point there's no saving them, because the physical body is dead. So there's no fixing it. But Daisy can't bring herself to do it, and Mac doesn't want to do it either. And thankfully, none of them have to, because killing Izel kills all the Shrike. So, for Yo Mac there for a moment, it was like, hey. A little concern there.
Yeah. Which
is good, because they need to take what's his face to the drive-thru to get tacos. It's like, hey, you liked all these twists and turns. Oh, by the way, one of the monoliths has the ability to reshape reality. Remember that kid from the future that has the ability to move and form rocks with his mind? Oh, yeah, he's back. And he may or may not be related to Yo-Yo and Mac. We don't know yet.
That's what I was wondering too when he showed up. Like, is that a future relative somewhere down the line that we don't
like the Deke equivalent, but for
for Mac and Yo-Yo?
Yeah, Mac and Yo-Yo. Yeah, I would not be surprised. So would not surprise
not that there be anything wrong with it, but it's just like,
Yeah. So we've still got people out of their proper time period. So now we have Deke and this kid. And the funny thing is like we got this whole thing with Izel and Sarge and the Shrike and blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, we had this undergoing like subplot with the Chronocoms.
Right. And Enoch.
Yeah, with Enoch, which it's like we get Enoch in Fitz up to a point, and then they get separated, and we learn the Chronocoms have lost their home planet. We can presume to the Shrike that they were victims of Izel's, megalomania, and they want to. They want the ability to time travel to go back and save their home planet, which is how Fitz and Simmons end up in the nightmare dimension. subconscious thing in the first place, and then like we don't that almost it doesn't get dropped, but it just like they step away from it until a few episodes left in the season. They're like, oh yeah, the Chronicoms, they're still a thing.
Yeah. Well, and then that scene in the bar where that one comes up to Enoch and it switches, everything turns Hunter, and I'm like, oh crap, this has officially hit the fan. Oh, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. And then we learn that Enoch actually has the ability to be aggressive.
Yes.
When the need arises. We don't see it, we just see the after effects of it. But still, he listened to the cheer. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Enoch, you can do it.
Well, and Enoch actually body jumped too, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Correctly here, transferred memory to.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's not your original body, Enoch. What happened? Okay, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. And
wink.
I guess considering how the season ends, that the Chronicoms did figure out time travel, but just have not used it for the purpose that they intended, which was to go back in time and try and save their planet. So, because instead, they've made a deal with Shield. And I'm sure they'll explain it in more detail once we come back next season. But the gist that we got is that the Chronicoms have decided that Earth will be their new home planet, and in exchange for the Shield not standing in their way, I guess, because they've determined that Shield would be their biggest threat to them inhabiting Earth, is that Shield will leave the planet forever, which because Izel's destroyed, Sarge is destroyed, and so we end up saving Yo-Yo. When May comes back to our dimension, even though her injuries have presumably healed, she is not out of the woods. She's still dying. I guess probably because of blood loss. But before we get this moment where May is all like, could you save Sarge? Was there any part of Coulson in there? And Daisy's like, no. And she's like, it's like, well, I guess I'll see him soon anyway. He's like, I'm off to Tahiti. In her mind. And the Simmons appears and puts May in a cryo chamber very similar to what Fitz was put in when he took the long way around to get to the lighthouse in the future, and says that she'll be fine. But then we discover that the Earth and Shield have made this deal with the Chronicoms, and they leave on the Zephyr, I think, and Fitz and Simmons, in the process of making this deal, have separated physically from each other, and Fitz is off someplace where Gemma has no idea where he is. They're still in communication via radio, but they can't see each other. And I guess we can probably presume, until we see otherwise, that maybe Deke is with him. I don't know. And maybe Snowflake too. Who knows? And but the Zephyr is now suitable for time travel, and our crew is now in, if they're sticking with proper US history, which, because this is a comic book universe, they could finagle it some, But at the moment, we have to presume that they're sticking with the proper U.S. history timeline, and they are now in New York in the 1930s, late 1920s, early 1930s, because the Empire State Building is under construction but almost finished, and it's completed in 1931, I think. So it's either really late 1920s or really early 1930s, New York. So they've time traveled again.
Yep.
This time to the past.
Yep. So it might be possible we might be seeing a certain agent of the certain
several agents, depending on. Well, one agent we know we will be seeing is Phil Coulson, but it's once again not the Phil Coulson that we were introduced to in Iron Man 1. This is a LMD with chronocom technology.
Right.
But still.
Yes, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah. Their issue now is the chronocoms have Fury's box, toy box that he gave Phil all those ages ago. And
we don't know what's in said toy box.
Yes, and that could be used against them. So they need to try to stop the chronocoms from the past. I'm presuming that that's what they're going to try and do. I don't know. We'll find out. But
and hopefully none of those chronocoms are in the Hydra agency.
But they need as much help as they can get, and who knows more about S.H.I.E.L.D. and its history than Phil Coulson.
Yep.
So we get it's like Gemma's like, she's like, well, we're gonna need help, and Enoch's like, Enoch's there, he's like so proud of himself, like a proud parent or something. And you can tell that Mac is not too. I could tell where Gemma was going when she was talking about who they needed. The minute she was talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. history, I was like, well, who's the biggest history buff ever?
Yeah.
Biggest S.H.I.E.L.D. nerd there is, besides myself.
Who's the biggest fanboy out there?
Yes. His fandom is far and wide. You could tell Mac was not too keen on the idea, but Daisy was like, open the door!
Yes, like,
let him out!
Liam.
I'll be right there with Daisy, like, yes, let me see Phil.
Don't make us break out the 9-9 gun on you.
Yeah. Like, open up, like, the LMD chamber, and he opens his eyes and like, hi, guys. I'm like,
yeah. Just
like,
the way he said it.
Henry didn't lie to me.
Yes, this is the Coulson we know and love, even though he is an LMD. Let's just hope he doesn't turn on us.
Yeah. That's the only thing that we, hopefully not. So, I mean, being an LMD and a chronocom, I mean, really, he could live forever. That's the nice thing about it. So, but yeah, so we're getting time travel again for the final season, except we're going backwards in time. And I have not looked a whole lot since they have already filmed this season. So there's stuff out there. Some of it is rumored.
Yeah.
Some of it is based on pictures that have been posted and since deleted from various members' social medias. But so you got to take what you read with a grain of salt. But from what I understand is they are not going to stay in the 30s. They will be going to we will essentially be getting S.H.I.E.L.D. in different decades. Because because executive producers and all of them, they have said that the final season will be essentially a love letter to S.H.I.E.L.D. history.
Yay!
Which, I mean, for a final season for a show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., why not?
Exactly.
So, especially considering what they did to Agent Carter.
Yes.
As a series. So yeah, there is a possibility we will see Peggy again. Supposedly, I never saw the image before it got taken down, and I've not looked for it. But when they wrapped filming completely, all of the cast got bicycles as gifts. Cool. And Ming-Na Wen had posted a photo of just a bunch of the bicycles kind of sitting together, but they put labels like tags and gift tags on all of them. And one of the tags was the name, and I'm blanking on his name, I should have written it down, but it is the name of the actor, the guy who played Sousa on Agent Carter.
Ooh.
Take that how you want, because Ming-Na Wen has since deleted said photo. So yeah, there's a very real possibility. It probably won't be immediately, because in the early 30s, Peggy would have been way too young.
Right.
So, because that would have been pre-World War II. So we need to get to post-World War II era to see Peggy, the founding of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hopefully, supposedly there's been pictures and people seeing the cast members in like 60s and 70s apparel era clothing. So that's why I said we're probably going to get S.H.I.E.L.D., like the history of S.H.I.E.L.D. in different decades, which again will be fun to see. It will also be interesting to see
possibilities.
Yeah, it will also be interesting to see how and if they, I don't want to say fix, but make this fit into the timeline we now have as far as the prime timeline with Infinity War and Endgame, or season 6 on. We can just assume that it is a broken off timeline, just like we're going to get with like the Loki streaming series, where it's not prime timeline Loki. It is the Loki that got away with the Tesseract post Battle in New York.
Right.
So.
Or this is like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the blip.
Yeah.
Section.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see S.H.I.E.L.D. in theory in different decades, especially if we get Haley back, possibly Dominic Cooper as Howard. That would be nice too.
And
at least up to a certain point, because at some point Dominic Cooper has to turn into what's his face that plays the older Howard Stark. He has to get taller and thinner and grayer. He has to grow like a foot.
Yep.
It's like I can almost believe it if it wasn't for the height difference.
Yeah. Maybe it was an experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
maybe
he decided to put lifts in his shoes because he
like Robert Downey Jr.
people picking on him about his height. I mean, you got to remember, Howard had to put up with Hank Pym. Maybe Hank Pym
maybe
said something about the height and took it personal. Like, I'm going to show him. Here we go.
Maybe. Oh, that would be fun if we could get a younger version of Hank Pym.
Ooh.
I mean, wish list. Let's spitball wish list here.
Yeah, really.
Any of our predictions are right.
Yeah, I mean, there's so rife with possibilities with them going back in time. There's so much just in S.H.I.E.L.D. history
how Nick Fury got recruited into S.H.I.E.L.D. because I don't think, did that ever get brought up in Captain Marvel? How he got recruited?
No, we just knew that he was a paper pusher before he moved to doing field work. So.
Ooh, and if this is like, never mind. That's not gonna.
Yeah. It'd be really fun to see if everything comes full circle, if the what they do in the past lays the groundwork for things that they encounter in what will be the future, but for us and them, it's stuff they've already experienced. Like the stuff that's like when they were, what was it, last season with the lighthouse, and there's like impending alien threat, push this button. It's like, they're like, who programmed that button? Wouldn't it be funny if one of them did?
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put that on there for a reason. I put that button in there for a reason.
So yeah, it's a tough thing, because it's like, I'm so excited to see what they do,
But
because of the possibilities, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want the show to end, but at the same time, I'm glad that they're ending it on their terms. So it's such a catch-22 kind of.
I'm
Where,
right there with you.
I'm glad that we have time to wait, that we're not jumping right into it. We don't know exactly when it will return. The indications seem to be next summer. Whether it will be another summer, I guess, will be to be determined, just because of the other MCU releases, both the movies and the streaming stuff. So
refresh my memory. Is season 7 going to be on ABC, or is it just going to be on the streaming service?
I believe it's going to be on ABC.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Because I have not heard anything otherwise. So
okay, I couldn't remember, so I'm just
I've not heard anything saying that it's going to go to just the streaming. So I would imagine that it will be on TV. So, and then it'll, because it's already on Hulu. You can already watch it, because that's how I've been catching almost the entire season, because it seems like every Friday night I've got something in the way, so I've not been able to sit in front of the TV, but it's been up on Hulu on the very next day. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I don't see why ABC wouldn't bother to, they know it's going to be the last season, so at the end of the day, it's like the ratings. I mean, ratings always matter to a point, but because they know the show is ending, it's not like they're gaming for ratings so that the show can stay on.
Right.
So, and this season seems to be, depending on where you look at the fandom, this season has been fairly highly regarded, actually. If you go on IMDb, I think pretty much all the episodes are 8 or higher.
Nice.
So I mean, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was never going to be the big mega show like Game of Thrones or something, but the fan base that they have is loyal and they're solid. It's a lot like the Librarians, where you give us a show that we expect and we'll remain loyal to it. So we may be small, but we're mighty.
Yes.
And I'll take it. Anything else?
That I can go.
was definitely an interesting season.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some good character development. We got some good character interactions. We got some more like necessarily Shield expansion, but just kind of the Marvel universe as far as other dimensions and new creatures and stuff, which is always fun. I like that the callback to Ghost Rider too. It's like, oh, an interdimensional being that can possess people? Oh, we've experienced that before. They're like, you've never experienced anything like me before. I'm like, actually we have. And he was on fire. So.
We're going to be experiencing him again with his own show. I've been seeing a lot of people hoping for at least a few Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. cameos.
Depending on where we go timeline-wise, it is a possibility.
Yep.
We could get Agent Carter, we could get Howard Stark, we could get Hank Pym, we could get more Howling Commandos. They're always fun to have back. Yeah, we could get a young Nick Fury. So
we get Howling Commandos. I would like. Have they? I can't remember. Have we ever specifically told which Howling Commando is? Oh no, what's his name?
Trip.
Yeah, Trip's grandfather. Were we ever told which one?
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't think we have.
Well, there's a question they need to answer before it's over.
Yeah. I think I need to take the Phil Coulson Shield history course and brush up, because I just have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah, that was the master's course right there. That set me up.
I do love me some Shield though.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if any of our listeners want to give their 2 cents on this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what you thought of it, or what you think is going to happen in the final season.
Yeah.
Are we going to see the return of Agent Carter? Are we going to see a young Hank Pym or Nick Fury? I don't know. What do you want to see?
You know,
I'd like.
I'd like if Agent Carter's coming back, you know, maybe a little cameo from one Steve Rogers, meaning, you know,
That too, or the flamingo,
Yeah.
Again, it will depend on.
Well,
this ends up fitting in Shield in MCU continuity. So
this is true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. If they're an offshoot, if they're their own timeline, then Steve going back and reuniting with Peggy.
Well, I can dream, can't I?
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, if any of our listeners have any of those fun theories floating around in their heads and want to voice them, just, you know, talk about anything we've the podcast ever, any questions or theories or ideas, send us an email. Our email address is 5ishfangirl@gmail.com, and we will read out feedback on the podcast. And you can also visit us at our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, and there you can find links to our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, all the fun places you can listen to us. You can also support us through Patreon. We have a merch shop, so you can show your 5ish fangirls pride wherever you go. And we also have an Amazon store and a Ko-fi account. So thank you so much for your support, for everything you guys do for us, for your comments, your interactions, your likes, your listening, because it makes this podcasting venture so much more fun to know that people are out there enjoying what we do.
Very much. Very much. Oh, we appreciate everything, all the support. So we've got exciting things coming. So stay tuned.
Yes.
And with that final thought, as I watch the geese outside my window attack each other, it's like a game of tag or something out there.
Sell tickets.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's like the geese are just like chasing each other, and the ducks are just floating in the water like, yeah, you weirdos. But anyway, on that lovely note, this is why we do audio, not video. Otherwise, you would see my face of just like the faces I'm sure I'm making watching the geese. Anyway.
That'll be a special thing for our Patreon supporters, I'm sure.
Yeah, really.
The view from Rachel's window.
Yes.
Geese WWE.
Yes. Rachel's Wild Kingdom, geese of the Midwest.
And the ducks are just like, yeah, you rookies.
Yeah,
Nope.
really.
Ducks are so much more civilized.
All right. Well, with that visual, we shall sign for this week.
This is Brittany Beth. I'm saying night.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Go enter our giveaway.
Yes, go do that.
Listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.